I call this meeting of the Krum Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called in accordance with the Texas Opens Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Time is 6:01. This board will now adjourn into executive session pursuant to Texas Open Meeting Act, Government Code, Chapter 551.
Tonight to serve the community of Krum. Please ask that you guide and direct the decision in the best interest of the families and the students that we get to work with. As always, please bless and protect those who serve and protect us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, Ms. Bowles, I think you have some pledge leaders for us today. Oh, there they are. They were hiding in the back. That's a good looking group.
Dave, you missing football practice? Maybe? Okay.
Maybe.
Depends how long this takes.
This is our group of National Elementary Honor Society students. It's a portion of the group. Several others, yes, some are at football practice, Dr. Cochran. They have other interests as well. But these are the few that could be here tonight. And so I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, and then we will lead the pledges. So would you guys tell them your name and what house you're in?
My name is Lucas, and I'm in house Youngstown. My name is Antonia, and I'm in house Diana. My name is Sheila, and I'm in house Bobby.
My name is Alston, and I'm in house Laren.
My name is Larry, and I'm in house Lafayette. My name is Stephanie, and I'm in house Lafayette.
Thank you. All right, and we are going to start with the pledge to the American flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you so much, guys.
Before they take off, I also want to introduce their sponsors, ladies. This is Elisa Lawson. She's our music teacher and in charge of NESS, and Amanda Brown also helps host that group. So thank you, ladies.
Thank y'all.
Yeah. Okay, special recognition. Hansel Teacher of the Month, Ms. Stuka.
I'm really honored tonight to introduce to you Christina
She's pretty popular.
That's a first.
Oh, you got to come up. Yeah.
She's definitely already loved on our campus. She just joined us at Hansel. She's a first-year teacher. She's teaching fourth grade math and science. She did her student teaching at Dyer last year, and she is a Krum graduate. So
All right.
in fact, our special ed teacher pushes into her classroom a portion of the day, and she stopped me in the hallway to tell me what a phenomenal job she was doing. So I want to share with you what she said. said, "This woman's created a classroom environment where students feel respected, supported, and cared for. I've observed her handle challenging behaviors with patience and professionalism. She also makes learning engaging for all students and is working hard to meet the diverse needs of learners. Our campus is very lucky to have her," and I would agree to that.
All right, no red pen. What? No red pen. You're covered. She had a cheering section. What does that mean? No red pen?
What's the sign mean?
No red pen. Perfect.
Oh,
got
red
it.
pen.
Okay.
I got it. Yeah.
All right, Miss Bowles, you have a paraprofessional for us?
I'd like to introduce you guys to Meredith Miller. Meredith, come on up. So Meredith works in our intermediate step class, which is a self-contained special ed classroom. They have 8 students currently, and she is an integral part to that. We have a teacher and 2 paras, and this is her second year in that classroom. And she comes in with a smile on her face every day, loving on all of the kids in her class, as well as the others that she sometimes gets to see. But I wanted to share with you what her colleagues have written about her as well. Ms. Miller has a true heart for working with children in special education. She approaches every interaction with kindness, thoughtfulness, and love. Meredith goes above and beyond each day for every student that she serves. She is deeply caring, incredibly understanding, and among the hardest workers that I know. She is most deserving of this recognition for her unwavering dedication and willingness to step up whenever needed. And I could not agree more. That absolutely defines her. So proud of you.
All right, Miss Boone, you got some students for us?
Okay, my first student of the month is Lily McGowan. Lily?
They tricked her.
Okay, so I have to read this because sometimes I get a little wordy and excited, and this helps control me. I am proud to recognize Lily McGowan as one of our KMS Students of the Month. She is a dedicated student who does it all. She earns all A's, taking advanced classes, and participates in athletics, choir, ag, just to name a few. The girl does everything. Lily's bright and shining personality lights up our halls each day, and she shows kindness to everyone she meets. Lily is one of those natural leaders who does it so humbly and most importantly, faithful. Lily is the true definition of what it means to be a Bobcat, and we are so proud to honor her as the KMS Student of the Month.
You should.
Okay, my next student of the month is Colt Goddard.
This good.
And now I just read about you, because we know I could go on.
Take all year. When he looks that good, he gets to stay up there a while. There you go. Just take the moment.
All right, so I'm gonna say some of the things that I want to say about you. I'm so excited to celebrate our 6th grade student of the month, Colt Goddard. He is a hardworking young man whose positive and genuine kindness brightens everyone's day. His zest for life is contagious, and he has done an outstanding job of navigating the new world of middle school with confidence and enthusiasm. Colt is funny, as noted, charming, also on my paper already, and one of the most determined students I've had the joy of knowing. He is always resourceful. He not only advocates for himself, but also genuinely looks out for others, students and adults. I am confidently here to tell you that Colt truly makes KNS a better place just by being in it. And I'm proud that you're KNS.
All right, Dr. Bonsu. Oh,
Oh, wow.
Yes.
oh, sorry, we didn't know.
Awesome.
Sorry, Colt.
Thank you for choosing me to be Student of the Month. I appreciate it very much. I wouldn't have been able to do it without the staff at Krum Middle School and many reminders. This is my third year being at Krum ISD. They have welcomed me for 3 years and had open arms to help me the whole way. I especially thank Miss Boone and Miss Fott. You're the best principals a school can have. Once again, thank everyone at Krum ISD.
Top that.
Yeah, that's a tough act right there, Bonsu. Good luck. Whatever you want.
Allison is a freshman at Krum High School, but her impact and who she is has already influenced our campus. This summer, I received a letter from Benton County Community Food Pantry saying, "Hey, you have an amazing student coming to you who's volunteered over 50 hours to help out the community that she lives in." That was one thing. So because of that, I was already looking out for her. Well, the volleyball game, she's there. When you go into our ag building, she's got a steer and a heifer, a big one.
Big one.
Got her sitting there, and she also invited me to kind of walk them, right? Is that what you said? So, what else that said, it's just an honor to have students like this. It's very hard to pick a student of the month, but when you have one that stands out like this, you're excited to get to show them off, her off to y'all. And so I'm just so thankful. Continue to do what you do. It's you're a freshman, so you got 3 more years. Keep it up. But thank you. So thank you.
I've won a couple of years. I just want to let you know.
I don't know if it was legit all those years, but
We won't mention the pig years.
yeah.
This year's 30 years. And this, our teacher of the year. So we always talk about teachers, teacher of the month, excuse me. We always talk about teachers being the backbone for our community, for our students. And this one specifically is not only a hero, but a lifesaver. On top of that, figuratively and realistically. The first day of school, first week of school, we had a student who had a seizure situation, a medical emergency, and the student actually stopped in front front of this teacher's classroom because this teacher was their teacher last year, just to have a conversation, the relationship component of what was really important. And through that process, this amazing teacher saw that the student was not themselves. As the student started to go down, he caught the student and called emergency to happen. Well, after that, you just start watching this guy because you're like, man, he either knows what's going to happen before it happens, or he just has the instincts. Well, watching, and he has tremendous relationship with every student at Krum High School. Matter of fact, in the mornings, they come out to hang out with him. And this is his second career, just FYI. So please welcome Mr. David Stewart here. In the front.
Dr. Bonsi, do you have one more student? Oh, he's not here. Okay. You should probably go ahead and talk about him, unless you're going to bring him back next month.
So our other student of Little Rock is Miguel Angel. Miguel Angel is a senior this year, also part of ag. He's just a student that has stood out, and the way that Mr. Gaines said it is, man, he has grown up a lot in the context of just becoming a young man. One of the things that we preach and encourage, since I've been there, so I've been there for a long time, but is that we're getting them ready for life. The idea of what we do is that they are productive citizens in the world that we get to live in. And Angel has, Mr. Miguel has shown in this time that he's been at Krum High School for the last 4 years, just the outstanding man that he is. And I wish he was here, but he's working. And so he's making money. This is important. So Angel, Miguel Angel is our student of the month at Krum High School.
Also shadowing the Denton Fire Department today.
Oh, cool.
The new part of that group that's been correct.
Well, thank you and congratulations to all the award recipients. I know a lot of y'all are here just for that. If y'all let us get through one more thing, then we will let y'all sneak out if you want to, if you'll hang on until that's over. It's time for our open forum, and we have a few speakers tonight. We'll begin with Patricia Rodriguez. Hey, come up there. That mic should work.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Cochran, and our Krum administrators. My name is Patty Rodriguez. This is my 6th year teaching at Krum. I've worked in education for more than 20 years. I've raised 2 children in public schools. This is my very first board meeting. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm getting emotional. It's the first board meeting I've ever attended. I was that parent. I've been that employee, but that is changing. A few weeks ago, I volunteered to take on the position of president of our local unit of the Association of Texas Professional Educators. I feared that our chapter was going to end and it would be dissolved due to a lack of leadership. And rather than accept that fate, I decided that I could be a problem solver. As I have dived deeper into this position, I have learned that ATPE is an amazing organization which advocates not only for educators at the local level, but also for education at the local, state, and national levels. And I realize that even though we are a small chapter, we can and should be advocating in our local community. But that, frankly and sadly, has not been happening. Usually a lack of active participation is due to apathy or expecting someone else to do the work. And if you've ever served on, let's say a school board or a district committee or your kids' sports teams or your church committees, you'll know that it's pretty much everything's being done by the same 6 or 8 people. What's the solution? New blood. And today that's me. I'm here to meet you and for you to meet me. I want to build that relationship with the board and the administration so y'all and ATP can broaden our communication horizons together. And the best leadership is done through example. So I'm stepping up and personally offering my support as a representative of our district's chapter and our members to take our educational goals to the next level. I am personally challenging our officers and site representatives to attend as many board meetings over the year as possible, with at least one of us to be here at every meeting. We're brainstorming ways to increase communication from our members to us as officers and from us to the administration. I'm excited to say that the first step to that bridge has already been made, as Mrs. Shipley has reached out to me to begin a conversation on the first issue that I wanted to be more informed about, which is clarity and transparency in district stipend policies. She has invited me to present my questions, concerns, and suggestions to consider and include on the working document, which looks toward our next district improvement plan. And I'm certainly eager to continue this work to achieve the goals that will improve our hardworking district and make it even better than we already are. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your service to our district, and I look forward to growing a successful relationship between our administration, our board, and the Krum ATPE. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Miss Paige Welch. You have the floor.
Hello, my name is Heller Mahi.
And I'm Paige Walsh.
The subject at hand includes the academic representation disparity between the current seniors and early graduates, specifically the GPA policy.
Class of 27 follows a GPA policy in which one would receive their GPA only for their core classes. Krum High School offers a wide variety of advanced core curriculums, allowing students to receive 5.0 and 6.0 credits. Additionally, their policy excludes elective courses from the GPA calculations. This provides the class of 27 with the opportunity to receive higher GPA. The current seniors GPA policy is different. That includes all core classes, that includes only core classes, and that includes core classes as well as electives, so it includes both, not just core classes. While there are advanced courses, the number of electives that are advanced is very limited at high school. And this can cause seniors to have GPAs that are lower because of these electives. Additionally, this could cause difficulty with current people that are higher in the rank to get scholarships and things that are provided with their rank and GPA. An example of this could be our valedictorian right now currently has a 4.8 GPA, but I think the valedictorian in the class of 26 has a 5.3. Don't quote me on that, but something in the 5 point something. And if somebody were to graduate early, they could come in and just kind of mess up where our ranks are. And so,
To improve equality among students, using a uniform policy, the 26 policy, among all graduates would create a fair and just way for GPA and class ranking overall. We have gotten multiple students and other members to sign. We have 46 people that have signed, agreeing that making a uniform policy would just create a more just way for GPA and class ranking to be created. Thank you for your time.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Vince Handler.
Good evening. My name is Vince Handler. I'm here to introduce myself because I am campaigning to win election to become the next Justice of the Peace for Denton County Precinct 5, which is essentially the entire northern half of the county, including the Krum area. A little bit about me. I'm a graduate of Baylor Law School. I'm actively practicing attorney. I've handled thousands of cases in Denton County Justice of the Peace courts, earning the trust and respect of many of the Denton County judges. more than a year ago, the current judge, Judge Mike Oglesby, personally called me to let me know that he was going to be retiring at the end of his current term. And since then, more than a dozen local judges have encouraged me to step up and run for filling up that role. So now I'm stepping up and seeking to get elected because our county and our area deserves just the peace that is transparent and is fair and has integrity. I've earned the enthusiastic support from many who know me through my community service. For instance, I'm honored to have the Denton County Sheriff, Tracy Murphy, serving as my campaign treasurer. I've earned the endorsements of several state representatives, mayors, council members. I've earned the endorsements of some precinct chairs, a commissioner, and I've got more endorsements on the way. Outside the courtroom, I stay deeply involved in the community. I've served on several local boards. I served as an election judge. I currently serve as a precinct chair, and I'm the vice president of the Denton County Republican Veterans Club. And I volunteer as a teen court judge in the Collin County teen court program. Before I became an attorney, I served as a law enforcement special agent and proudly retired as a 20-year Air Force veteran. These and other experiences, including a good foundation in the law, have equipped me with a wide range of skills that will be serving our community well as the next Justice of the Peace. As judge, I'll be fair, impartial, and committed to ensuring that every case is heard without prejudice or favoritism, and I will faithfully uphold the law, applying it consistently and predictably to the facts of each case, and that includes cases that are going to be involving our students, which could be truancy, parental contribution to truancy, and some Class C misdemeanor type of issues. Finally, I'm faith and family focused. For me, being a judge would not be a job, it's actually a calling for me. I have the unwavering support of my wife, my family, and many, many friends. I'd be honored to earn your personal support as well as support of the entire Krum community. And to find out more information, you can go to my website, handlerforjudge.com. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. All right, thank you to all our guest speakers and anyone that needs to move on with their evening and doesn't want to sit through the rest of the business portion of this meeting. Y'all are welcome to leave. We'd love for you to stay, but we understand.
Let me have those green sheets. Thank you.
Would you get, I guess, Bob, I wonder what the other girl's name was.
Holland.
Okay, perfect, thanks. Just, I need it from you, you don't need to write it on there, but I want to follow up with them, you know, just later on, next week when I get back. Was I wrong? That was a cool kid, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know,
All right, let's move into our reports. We'll begin with our monthly financial report. Misty, thank you. Front and center.
So, just to give you a few little updates, August 21st, we received $9 million for our bond series 2025. So now we actually have 3 series going on with Techstar. We have 2022, 2024, and now 2025. Did want to report that for our budget this year, one of the things that we did on building revenue, we're looking at
All right, Dr. Cochran.
A couple items, a little bit different areas on my report this month. You know, Missy talked about the student numbers being increased. Still hadn't seen the bubble burst as we predicted. We actually have talked to several of the land people in the area, and there's going to be, they're kind of holding off until interest rates pop down on some of the new construction and growth. So we're probably going to see a little bit of a pause there. But Missy did do a good job estimating our student growth, and what's it, we're 19 or 9? 9 kids away from the allotted, what we pre-budgeted off of. Now, after all this, in the next couple months, we will get the finalities of our amendments and all the other things with the Senate bills that added the money to the budget. So we'll see where that number comes in for the district on where that bottom line comes out to be. But enrollment and attendance, enrollment's looking good. Attendance is actually, it's quite impressive, and it's interesting when you look at climate and culture for kids. You know, one of the things to look at is, do they like coming to school? And we look at attendance as part of that judge. And if you look at just the trend of what we're doing this year from the first couple weeks of school compared to last year, you know, where we've sat at 94 to 95, some areas we hit a little bit 96. We're sitting at, you know, one elementary campus, 97.6% attendance, 97.3% attendance, and you know, one campus had 97% last year and 96.9% attendance this year. Those are high numbers when you're looking at annual attendance for a district, when, you know, you can usually count on about 95 to 96 at the beginning of the year. And then secondary is usually a big learning curve for some kids when they get a little more freedom. Parents who just have already had about 5 years where they're sick of yelling at their kids, so they get a little more lenient in secondary. But just comparatively speaking, you're looking at last year, this time for the middle school, it was 96%. Now they're at 97.7% attendance for the first couple of weeks. That's a crazy increase. High school, last year, 94.3%. This academic period, 96.3% attendance. So we're doing some things with truancy, but a lot of that is just kids finding the importance and coming to school. So that's a big push, because every percentage point does go towards the bottom line, but being here makes them successful. So those are good numbers to look at. Overall construction update. I did meet with Gallagher last Wednesday and said I need a pretty detailed update of a timeline to talk about to the board about our CTE facility. And as they were putting that together Friday night, within an hour and a half, we got over 5.5 inches of rain, which ruined every footer they dug as they were preparing to pour that slab. So that put about, the whole work's going to be about another 13 to 15 days behind, which then puts other things behind. So they're rewriting the time scale. Initially, we were looking at December to January. He said, you know, right now they're looking, that could be close to 30 days with pushed off track on trying to get, he's not quite ready to give me a timetable on it yet, on that particular project. The middle school's going faster because the weather-related work's been finished. I mean, they got to remove water, some areas that might have flooded a little bit, but they're still making progress and on track. We are you'll be getting a proposal over the next board meeting on furniture. You know, we're getting to the phase where we're buying the stuff that puts it together in the middle school pieces. Two pretty amazing environments. Not to the point to I'm worried, but I am on the CT center, but we are. I'm waiting for them to give us more of a definitive timeline. The other piece that we'll talk a little bit about tonight in construction, when we look at taking the next steps with the architect program, is what we're doing at the high school. We've been, you know, Huckabee's been working with administrators and a couple board members on really designing that addition and making sure that our needs met. We took some of the recommendations from that board, met with the athletic directors, and making some more tweaks and really coming up with a pretty phenomenal product. So we'll keep everybody in the loop. But we did get to the point where we have to address it later on in the meeting tonight on moving forward formally with the architect to complete some of that design process. The last thing on my world to talk to, unless there's any questions on attendance and enrollment and construction right now. One of the updates, just to kind of keep an eye out, and we are going to a conference this week, and so you'll get hit. We talked a couple months ago how normally in a session, there's, 35 bills that are passed. And I think, what did I say last time? There was 107 bills passed this last session, so there's a lot of fluctuation in state legislation. And then the challenge in public school is with these new legislative pieces that hit educators, the Commissioner of Education puts out these to the administrator address style letters that say, here's step one in addressing it with your district. And a lot of these things came into play September 1. And the dynamic, just so you can see some of the things we're dealing with, Senate Bill 13, and I'll kind of go over a little bit, but that's where you're hearing a lot of things in the media and the world about the library bill. So there's a lot of hurdles districts have to begin to make that environment compliant. But the compliance piece, the letter of the law said September 1. Our administrative address came in August 28th. So we've been given the ability to get the steps on what to do with that to build a practice. So we have to be working on that moving target. And then pieces of this also gets tied up in litigation and those type things. But we are working to begin the process for Senate Bill 13. We look at some of the library compliance issues. And what those main points of that are, as you'll see us over the next couple months, is the board having to adopt a formal policy to address the acquisition of library books in the library, providing a portal for parents to have access to the library catalogs and the records. And then there's one piece in this that talks about districts can look into either coming up with a policy and process to review the challenged books, or there's one recommendation of a SLAC committee. A lot of districts are waiting for litigation and some more definition of a SLAC committee. School Library Advisory Council is what that is looking into. But part of the challenge is in the legislation piece, it's optional, but they did say if you put one together, you have to have a minimum of 10% of your student enrollment in parents. So that would be 260 people on this committee, or 50, whichever's less, which is still a large committee to put together, or you have to put together processes in place of that. And so we're waiting for a little bit of guidance and those type of things, because those are two pretty dynamic lifts when you're talking about a library council. So working in that process with the Senate Bill 13. And then work with the district to propose to the board formal appeal processes when it comes to books. So there's, I would encourage you to see things in from the community perspective. The board's going to a conference to get updates on many of these things in the next couple of days. So this is one of the hot topics to look at. Also, for the board's perspective, Senate Bill 12 required us to send home some information to parents. The transition, you'll see this past legislative session, is really leaning more towards parental transparency and parental control. So you'll see things keep coming up like opt-in versus opt-out. In the past, you say, well, kids don't want to do it, they can just opt out and not do it. Well, they're changing that philosophy and really saying parents, instead of just getting a blanket opt-out, have them opt into things. And in that, they specifically targeted two areas that required us to send home forms, and the parents have seen these, and throughout the state, we've seen confusion and those type of things. But we have to have one opt-in form for counseling services, and there is pretty distinct criteria over what you're opt into counseling services. And there's a couple things in which they can provide overall guidance and those type of things for if parents don't fill these pieces out that help just get a kid graduated. But there's pretty detailed pieces that we sent home in the letter on opting in. I wanted to bring that up tonight because this is a new piece, and you may be hearing as board members, why are we doing this? Are y'all implementing something new? We're not implementing anything new. It's just the state's perspective on counseling services. The parents now have an opportunity to opt into those, and it's defined in the letter. Very similar to the nurses type situation. You may see some in social media world, they have some extreme examples of districts and how they're reacting to some of these things, but you have to opt into nursing pieces. I'll give you an example that came across a news feed, not necessarily one of our examples, but prior to this year, the old days, you would bring a bottle of medicine and the mom would write a note and say, give my kid 2 Tylenol, and that's your parent permission piece. recent, prior to this legislation, we would have to have a doctor's note on file saying that they could have this X medication. Well, we still have those doctor's notes that made it correct, and kids need their medication. But it is now illegal for us to give them the medication that's on file with the doctor's note unless we have a note from the parent opting into the program they signed up for the year before. So there's just some hurdles public ed is dealing with on some of these things. But there is, you know, you may hear from parents and you may see stuff at the conference about some of these things. But those are two big hot topic legislative buttons that were coming up, Senate Bill 13, Senate Bill 12. And then there's still a whole slew of Senate bills that we haven't even gotten updates from the commissioner on what some of these things may look like. But those are two main ones. Anything else, questions on those or ideas or anything you may have heard that?
What about, talking about state legislation, I'd like to hear from Boone and Bonsu, like, what do you see an impact of the phone policies?
I'm seeing kids talk, I'm seeing kids play games at lunch. I'm seeing more learning happening. Jamie, coach of all, she was at the training at Regional last week, and she was there with assistant principals in different places from Regional 11. I mean, you know, she shared that we had maybe 1 or 2 pre-referral a day. Him, person that was at Fort Worth campus, 60 a day, and that's one assistant principal. And they usually have like 4 or 5 at their campuses. So I would say our problem is not significant. It's actually been really, really good for our kids because our teachers are getting to teach, and now they have their attention.
I second that. It's, there's not the outside distractions, so there's been an improvement even from last year. Students who would come in with drama from outside of school, that they would get an update on from somebody during the day somehow, and there's not. I mean, they're just focused on school, and we don't have hardly any referrals. They're doing what they're supposed to do, and they're not doing any kickback. I mean, not about that.
Yeah. That's exciting to hear. We knew it would help education, but it's exciting to hear the community and the kids are buying into it also, and not having a lot of pushback.
When you talk to people in districts all over, one of the craziest secondary pieces that, I don't know if anybody saw this coming, but Uno cards are almost, I mean, their Uno games are everywhere. They're playing cards at lunch and, you know, having Uno interactions. It's an anomaly at all campuses right now. It's really funny.
Buy stock in.
Buy stock in
Like,
Mattel.
whatever-
Is Mattel, whatever
yeah.
does your Uno cards? Yeah. Pardon me? Uno's what we're gonna talk about.
Come on, Nick. Thank y'all for the impromptu update. Anybody have any other questions about Dr. Cochran's reports? All right, no actions on items from closed session. At this time, we will open our public hearing for the Krum ISD proposed budget and tax rate for the 2025-2026 school year. The time is 7:24. Anyone who wishes to speak or ask questions may do so during this hearing. When we're done with these discussions and questions, and they've been addressed, we will close the hearing. Are you,
Just if anybody else has any questions.
does anybody have any questions about this year's proposed budget and tax rate?
It looks like it's going down. Eric, I don't know exactly what I can say. I think it's, did you already use the tax rate off? It's going from 70.7552 to 0.7206. Is that right, Misty? Okay. So 3 cents. All right, good.
All right, if there's no further discussions or questions, this public hearing is closed. closed. Time is 7:25. Now we'll adopt the 2025-2026 tax rate ordinance.
Misty, just want to do an overview of the tax rate piece? Do you have that sheet? Yeah, do you have it?
Well, I can.
Okay, perfect.
Talk about it. So yeah, we talked about last year, it was 7.7552 for the M and O. Our INS was 0.4746. This year, we're looking at 3 cents lower, 0.7206. And that has a lot to do with, our MCR gets, calculated for us because of our appraisal rate. So ours, obviously, we, didn't hit the floor all the way, but we were really close. But the last few years, we have been at the floor. So because of those exemptions, that kind of raised us up a little bit. So, that's that explanation. Last year's the entire rate was $1.22. This year, we're looking at $1.19. And then, no new revenue. I'm not preaching to the choir with Nick. He probably knows a lot about the no new revenue. But, when you make the motion, it's gonna talk about an increase. But that increase has to do with an increase of a percentage of the no new revenue, not the actual tax rate. And basically, why that is a no new revenue rate is a tax rate that would generate the same amount of property tax revenue as the previous year on the same properties. So, it's looking at what that revenue would generate, with last year's tax rate using this year's values. So, there's nothing we can really do about that, but that's it, that's the motion that we have to say. Or in other words, it allows taxpayers to see how the current year's proposed taxes compare to previous year's taxes based on properties taxed in both years. So if a property value increases, then no new revenue will decrease because property values increase. So it's that whole relationship.
So even though it's a decrease, it's still reflective as a 16% increase
Because of
as
the
you adopt the
no new
rate. Because the number, okay, yeah, that's what, just getting clarification on that.
Yeah, that is odd.
Yeah.
Bless you.
You explained it well. It's confusing.
I just had to write it down.
Yeah.
I just had to write it down. Are there any questions on the tax rate ordinance for 2025-2026? Not, do I have a motion?
I move that the property tax rate be increased by an adoption of the tax rate of 1.19520, which is effectively a 16% increase in the tax rate.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Discuss, consider, and take possible action to change the board election process from an at-large to a seat or place election.
So when I was hired, within the first couple months, several years ago, one of the questions was brought to me to watch a couple election cycles and review the process. And, because at that time, it didn't line up with what the city was doing in their places and just taking an overall evaluation of it. So after a couple cycles, last month, the board asked if I put it back on the agenda. Just for an overview of the process, when you're talking about public elections, at-large is your voting proximity. So we have 128 square miles of Krum ISD. People that live within that area gets to vote on a school board member. That's the at-large. If it wasn't at-large and they had it in selective municipal districts, you would only be able to vote on the people that were identified for this spot of X. But at-large is the whole entire thing. Years ago, at-large was just 7 spots. That's how many we're filling, and we have them in cycles of 2, 2, and 3, and that's currently the structure that Krum has been on, where when you talk about at-large by place, which is reflective in the city and other school areas, you have to run for that position. So there still would be 3 people up at a time, 2 people up at a time, but a person would sign up to run against place 1. And over the years, districts have adopted these things, and some of the pieces I put together is just of the North Texas districts, and looking around from a state perspective, I pulled 23 similar districts and bigger districts. You know, we were the only one that still did the general at-large piece for schools. everybody else still has it by place, or they do like a hybrid model. For example, Louisville ISD was at large by place, but then several years ago, they were in a lawsuit for underrepresentation, and that lawsuit prevailed, and so now they have several parts of their town that designate 5 seats. And you still have to sign up to run against seat 4, but seat 4 represents this area. So some school districts have versions of that, but approximately 5 to 10% of districts in the state of Texas still do it this way. Originally, from what I've discovered, the design of just having open at-large process was in smaller communities where you didn't have the massive numbers to run a major election. You know, to get 3 people to sign up was just the challenge at hand, especially to find 3 that weren't related. I was asked to bring it forward. You know, if I had to give a recommendation, I would align with the city and the surrounding districts and move to an at-large by-place position, not changing any of your cycles. If 3 of you be up X or 2 of you are up in May, you'd still be up in May, but somebody would run up against your place, and you go place to place on that piece. To change this, you have to adopt an amendment, and that amendment has to be adopted 60 days prior to the call of an election. Our election cycles get called in February for May, and for May for November. So we have to be 60 days prior to February for you to call to make this amendment. It is on the agenda tonight. The amendment is attached if you wanted to make a move to continue to be at large, but then define it by place. That's the overview of it.
Or no action if you want it to remain the same.
How long has it been the same way it is now, since you've been on the board?
I believe it's always been that way.
I don't know that it's ever not been a complete at-large. And does anybody have any questions about the differences?
When you say places and all that, it's not like me and Brooke are in that's place 1 over here. Right?
No.
It'll be,
You-
so
you
we'll be
each-
assigned 1 through 7.
So, okay.
So if 6 and 7 are up for election and John Smith decides to run, he has to choose to run against seat 6 or against seat 7. He can't run against both. Well, right now, it would be the 2 highest vote getters.
The other piece to it is if you have people running in individual spots and they sign up to run against spot 7, the only way to win spot 7 is to get a true majority. So 51% of every one of those spots gets the vote. If you have 3 people up and you get 70, 70, and 20%, that next majority may not be the majority of the community, but they still get a spot because it was the highest percentage,
Be 40, 40, and 20.
whatever that number would be.
Yep.
But I was just,
70 would be a majority.
Say that again,
Yeah.
it'd be 40, 40, 20.
You wouldn't have a 50% majority,
You
but
could.
those 2 people with 40
it
won.
just
Yeah.
statistically,
Okay.
and majority of the time you do have a majority piece that rolls it.
Right.
But there are times where a non-majority person could win it in that scenario.
Right.
Probably why the city moved to an at-large
Yeah,
by
right.
place. You want majority pieces to get it.
And then if someone doesn't sign up for a seat, does that seat stay vacant, or does the board appoint someone to that position?
It would stay vacant through the election, and
It
the
stays
board would
vacant,
have to
yeah.
appoint
Then the-
After the fact?
for 1 year
For
until the
1
next
year.
election cycle. So then the
That's- and
next
that's
year there
not-
would be 3. If there was gonna be 2 the following year, now there would be 3 the following year, and it would only be for a 2-year seat.
And that's electoral process. That has nothing to do with that. I mean, when you deal with a vacant position, like if you were to vacate the board now, somebody would finish your term to May. And then you'd have, there's rules in place for that,
Right.
not according to, it has nothing to do with this.
It says in here that ballots for the May 2025 election will clearly show the position for which each person is a candidate. Should that say May 2026? Because May 2025 is already passed.
Yeah, it would be May 2026.
Page 46
On the amendment,
of the PDF document, I guess it's the amendment or the resolution?
Resolution, I only saw 2 pages.
40, I think it's 46, page 46 of the PDF document.
resolve ballots for the May 2025 election. Yeah, that should be 2026.
Okay.
We'll just change it before Eric signs it, if y'all go that route.
I was looking, I was like, well, I didn't think I was that from.
I don't personally have any opinion on it. I don't know that it's dysfunctional the way it is. The only thing that is a little bit odd about the way it is right now, if the three of you are up for election next year, we have to function as a board for several months, but y'all are campaigning really against one another to try to win. Which can cause kind of some dysfunction. So that's the hole in the system that we have now, I think. But I don't have an opinion on whether or not we should change it or not. I'm okay with it if the board feels like they would.
Odd seats, like 1, 3, and 5, and then, or, do it like that, like at the city, it's,
It would line up with their current years.
yeah, but,
The numbers really don't matter.
Yeah.
It's just whatever election cycle you're on, they would remain the same. I think me and Nick are on the same.
Like we'd be 4 and 5, Broken
We're on-
7.
Yeah.
1 through 3 would be the 3 that are up next year. And then the 2 new board, well, 1 board member would be 28, yeah. So it must default to place numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm open to whatever y'all wanna do.
I move to approve the resolution as recommended by the superintendent.
And that resolution is changing the board voting process to be at large by place.
Correct.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. All right, discuss, consider, and take possible action to amend the agreement with Huckabee regarding the redesign and addition to the existing high school.
We have to go through formal processes then when we're dealing with design, and at some point we have to amend their previous contract that we're on for the other projects to include the current project. And initially, I will say, when we talked with the design, and Marcus is here, hey, good, you're feeling better, glad to see you.
You been under the weather?
It's not contagious, don't worry, guys.
At least, not unless you're within 5 feet.
Yeah.
I'll go to the chair and back.
Yeah, but, so, when we were looking to get to this point, the initial discussions were, for new constructions, the agreements are 6% of a project, for design and, for designing of the process. On remodels, there was a 7% piece, and we had some discussion on what that piece would look like, and I asked Huckabee to review it, because I understand that percentage increasing on projects of lesser value or more extreme work on a smaller scale. And this sounds silly, but 10 million being small. But 10 million to 20 million, I understand that percentage may need to increase to do some of the work it takes in a remodel. But when you get up to $100 million, I asked that they honor the new construction piece into it. I will tell you, they were quick to respond and have amended their part of the contract to be 6%. In this piece, it would save us over $1 million, just under $1 million, because it's on the 88 million piece of it, but there's considerable savings. So, I do recommend that we amend, the contract so we can proceed on the high school design at an interest rate of 6%.
A design percent. A design percent of 6%.
Yeah, what did I say?
Interest rate.
Of 6% on the design. Did I not say that?
You said interest rate.
It's been a long day. Yeah.
So their design fee is
We're amending the current contract. Does the current contract show something greater than 6%?
7.
Well,
On remodels.
it's not just the percentage. It did show the percentage, but we have to, the current contract started with Hansel.
Okay.
And then we
It's just
amend it
carried
for the middle
over.
school, and then we amend it for the
Okay,
next one.
okay.
Before we can move forward in the design, basically, they've done all they can for free. We need to start going engineering and everything else to work on starting this high school project this summer. So we can come to an agreement to have them put the full team on it. They need to amend the contract to move forward. I didn't want to move forward at 7%. They agreed to move forward and amend the contract, but at 6%.
Well, thank you.
It was all him.
I move to approve the amended agreement as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Consent agenda. I don't think there's anything in there that,
Kudos on your improvement plans. I know a lot, you poured sweat and tears into that, so thank you so much. I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Items for future agenda.
Before we adjourn, can I introduce Shelley?
Yeah. Is there anything the board wants to see next month that we haven't already discussed? Okay.
Before we adjourn, I just want to introduce the board to Shelley. She is our make us look great guru.
All right.
But she's joined the team and hit the ground running. So,
Glad to have you.
board Shelley, Shelley board.
What's the Team of 8 strategic plan update?
So what I wanted to do is this summer when we met with Greg to begin the consulting piece of the strategic plan, we took that process, we ran with it as a school district, and the administrators finalized the plan. And we talked about when we got to that process that we would sit down, collaborate with me, you, Misty, Nancy, Sheila. I want to spend about 10 minutes on it because today is a piece where you see here's the goals we set, here's our measurables. We can look a little bit of what the principal pieces have looked to start the growth process. If the board's comfortable with what we talked about, then my next step would be to go back to that committee of 75 community members and say, hey, here's our updated strategic plan, and we start moving forward with the process. It's gonna be a living document that we go back and forth with the board, but this is kind of the collaboration piece where we get to review the goals and the accountability pieces to it. I just wanted you to see what we put together. Not kill a lot of time on it, but kind of go through that process together. So we can go, it's open.
It's open, okay.
You're welcome to sit and watch us, but
we
I would
won't
suggest,
adjourn.
I would suggest we kick them out and take their table.
Okay. Let's move over there.